I've played tons of games, and a while back there were some viewers who asked me to make videos about games that I would suggest for people who are looking to build a library, to establish that foothold in collecting a few games. That's a tough thing to do when you haven't played every single game out there, and between me and you, I don't know if I ever will, but I can sure try. And with that, this new series with me and Aria has been manifested. Special shout out to two very specific people who pitched this a long time ago, namely RMF Jedi Master 7962, nice username by the way, and a personal peer and friend of mine from Twitch, the Calamity Cody. With that being said, me and Aria are going to go through the major genres, and I'll give 2 games from the adult perspective, and she'll give you 2 from her perspective. Let's begin. Platformers were one of the bread and butter genres for the 3rd generation of gaming. If it could be made into a platformer, it was made into a platformer, period. The genre was simple, get from point A to point B, while dealing with an astronomical amount of enemies, objectives, or other obstacles that would otherwise cause you distress. There are tons of great quality platformers out there, and from all of them that exist, these are my 2 suggestions. Super Mario Bros. 3 is a standard. Some might say that Super Mario Bros. 1 was better, but to me, I always loved number 3. It was just a more modern take on a standard, right? I'll always love Super Mario Bros. 1, but 3 was special to me, so humor me with my retro goggles. It's not without its difficulty, but for a good entry-level platformer, you can't go wrong with it. My other choice is Shatterhand. Shatterhand is unique and personally one of the more underrated action platformers on the NES. It has tight controls, an awesome protagonist, and power-ups that are customizable based on certain symbols that you pick up. It's like if Mega Man and Batman had a gritty, metal-punching baby, right? And the soundtrack is a banger as well.
In Kobe's Adventure, you play as Kobe, a soft pink puffball. Kobe can suck up bad guys and copy their powers, like breathing fire or turning into a wall. He floats through different places, eating snacks and rescuing his friends. It's like a dream playground. When you get stronger, every time you gobble up an enemy. In DuckTales, you're Scrooge McDuck, the richest duck in the world. You jump with your cane like a pogo stick, boing, and explore places like Egyptian pyramids and even on the moon. All along the way, you collect gold coins and treasure chests, but watch out for spiders, beagles, and sneaky chaps. It's an adventure full of surprises.
Puzzle games didn't maintain as much of a presence on the NES as other genres did, and I don't mind that. It's one of the more niche genres out there, and I respect that, but sometimes we want to tickle our brain. And that's what the puzzle games are all about. We know what we're getting into by popping in one of these. If you know me, you know I stand by Tetris, and I will to the day that I die. My grandmother and me played the heck out of this on my Game Boy, and it was awesome to play the NES version with her when she visited. It's not often you can say you streamed over 40 Tetris games to both Twitch and the YouTube communities while your grandmother rated games with you. Tetris is a classic. It's the grandfather of well-designed puzzle games, and you will have fun with this. It's designed to be that way. This game still perplexes me because I had never heard of it. To be fair, I didn't know about Solomon's Key until I heard about Fire and Ice, but to me, from the hour that I checked it out for some videos, it's an incredibly smart puzzle game. It's deceptively cute, but equally challenging. I enjoy puzzle games that don't let me get too confident in my abilities. I want to be able to lose. I want to be able to restart if I make a mistake, and that's the comfort of this game. It's a gem that rewards logic or reflexes, and to me, that's an important thing.
In Dr. Mario, Mario wears a doctor's coat and throws medicine to stop funny little germs. The germs are red, blue, and yellow, and they wiggle and smile at you. You match the colors to make the germs disappear. It's like a puzzle game with medicine and music that makes you want to dance. A In Yoshi, you catch foreign monsters and put them in eggs. You can stack things, match them, and hatch baby Yoshis. Mario stands on the side and flips trays while you try to keep up. It's super silly, really fun, and sometimes makes your brain go, whoa, when it gets fast.
Action. This is a broad genre, and back then, the action genre to me was one of the most dynamic. The action genre was 100% evolving to formulate its own identity, and in many ways, it was being perfected. Mechanics were being added, different styles were manifesting, and I envy anyone who lived during this era. Words cannot express my personal level of disdain for the tropes that manifest in the Ninja Gaiden franchise. I mean, I do have words, and many of you who watch my videos know that I have those words at the ready, but because I'm working on a video with my lovely little munchkin here, I'll save those words for another day. Out of all of the Ninja Gaiden games on the NES, I personally feel that the best one is Ninja Gaiden 2. It takes everything from the first game that flips your internal organs inside out and cranks it up. It has faster action, great cutscenes, and the whole Shadow Clone power-up is pretty cool. It offers a refreshing level of strategy which you'll need when you're getting knocked back into the pits for the 500th time. There were tons of licensed movie games on the NES. You can thank LJN, Acclaim, and Ocean for making sure that happened. But Sunsoft came out of left field with Batman, and to me, it's one of the best, if not the best, licensed movie-based game on the NES. If you enjoyed Ninja Gaiden, you'll love Batman because it's basically the same thing, just with a different context and narrative. The combat is decent, the music is amazing, and it feels like it's just too good to be an 8-bit cartridge.
In TMNT 2, you get to be one of the Ninja Turtles. Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, or Michelangelo. You fight robots, ninjas, and even the big bad guy Shadow. You can play with a friend, eat pizza for health, and Rio, Calabunga when you win. It's all about teamwork, karate kits, and saving the day. In Double Dragon 2, two brothers named Billy and Jimmy fight their way through bad guys to rescue somebody they care about. You punch, kick, jump, and even do spin kick like real action hero. The levels are tough, but super cool. There are elevators, waterfalls, and secret traps. You can even play together and take on the bad guys as a team.
To me, this one particular genre at this point in time was one of the best catalysts for arcade games hopping to the home medium. Prior to the NES being released, the golden age of the arcade shined, so many quality shooters were created, and the potential for them to be ported meant that not only did they serve as a teaching tool for these companies, they also led to the evolution of the genre. When you think of Contra, you think of the Konami code, right? You think of non-stop action, you think of one of the best two-player experiences you could have, or the worst if you're losing lives to the vertical jumping level. To me, this game is a catalyst for many people who would go on to appreciate arcade conversions moving forward, and it's a rather polished game for what it is. We have power-ups, each with their own unique advantages, and it's eons better than the arcade version could have ever dreamed of being. On the other hand, if you want a distinct challenge, Journey to Silius is a great choice. From start to finish, you're listening to one of the best soundtracks on the NES, period. Mad props to Naoki Kadaka for his compositional prowess. You know, it's still funny to me that this originally was supposed to be a Terminator game, and Sunsoft managed to restructure it to being one of the best hidden gems on the NES. It's a sleeper hit, through and through.
In Chippendale, you play as two city chipmunks who run around saving the day. You pick up boxes and jump through fun places like City Park and toy stores. You can play with a friend, but be careful. Don't bunk each other by accident. It's for a laughs, teamwork, and tiny heroes doing big things. In Commando, You're a brave soldier running through the jungle. You shoot bad guys, throw grenades, and try to save the world, one level at a time. It's super fast and full of action, with lots of boom sounds and exciting music. You'll feel like a soldier from an old movie.
I was never big on racing games, and I certainly wasn't big on racing games during the NES era, but me and Aria do have our own suggestions. I didn't really have many to choose from for the racing pool to make this pop, so don't feel surprised by my choices, but I do have to suggest RC Pro-Am. Ugh. It's one of Rare's early games, and yes, it's isometric. No, I do not like it. Yes, I can see how it's fun. No, I did not beat it. No, I will not play it again. But to me, it's a huge part of the NES's history as an arcade-styled racer. The mechanics of the game would inevitably inspire kart racers moving forward, so I guess props to Rare. But if you want something more serious, but not so serious that it's a simulation game, then my choice would be Formula 1 Built to Win, which is funny because this box ended up on the top 10 worst NES box arts episode, and for good reason. It looks horrible. Here's a reminder. Again, can't say the words that I used before, but if you want to laugh, that's the episode to watch. It reminds me a lot of Rad Racer, which honestly could have been on this list as well, or even Road Blasters if you wanted that arcade feel.
In Excite Bike, you ride a super fast bike and do big jumps. You race on tracks, bumps, mud, and turbo ramps. But be careful, if your bike gets too hot, it slows down. It's all about zooming fast, flipping in the air, and trying not to crash. Micro Machines is like playing with tiny toy cars in real life. You race on kitchen tables, bathtubs, and even school desks. There are race cars, boats, and tanks. It feels like your toys came to life and said, "Let's go." Sometimes in life, we want to be different than who we were yesterday. Now I'm a kid. With my life experience, that means the only other time I've been something else was during Halloween. But there are games that let you build characters and take on the world.
As a kid, I wouldn't be caught dead playing Final Fantasy, and I surely didn't know what an RPG was. But as an adult, I adore the first Final Fantasy game. If you sat me down at a table and you put Dragon Warrior 1 and Final Fantasy 1 in front of me and asked me to choose one, and why, I would already have Final Fantasy in my hand. From a narrative standpoint, Final Fantasy blew Dragon Warrior out of the water. We had great NPCs, clear-cut objectives, a massive world, tons of equipment, and great music. It all culminated into this really great fine-tuned introduction to the JRPG for so many people. But that doesn't mean Dragon Warrior is out of the fight. Dragon Warrior 3 was massively successful, which Final Fantasy 3 on the Famicom can't really claim. It sold 1 million copies in the first day. I don't know how many games back then managed to do that. Dragon Warrior 3 has a class-based system. You can recruit different people and you can freely swap out characters as well as day and night cycles. So that's one of those fine print things that you don't expect in a game of the era, but they did it. So yeah, awesome.
In Zelda 2, you play as Link, a brave hero with a sword and shield. You walk around the world, go into towns, and fight monsters inside big castles. You even learn magic spells to help you jump high or shoot beams. It's tricky, but really cool if you like battles and exploring. In Crystalis, you wake up in a world full of magic and robots. You find cool swords that have powers like fire, water, and lightning. You fight bosses and save the planet. It feels like a big storybook where you are the hero.
Personally, I wasn't big on adventure games of the era because most of them were just, platformers. And to me, if you've seen one platformer, you've seen them all, especially in the third generation. It didn't matter if you had a Sega Master System or an NES, they were all the same, just with different mechanics, and I'll die on that hill. That being said, The Legend of Zelda is a cult classic game for a reason. It was a game that gave you a tidbit of information, kicked you out into the world of Hyrule, and made you figure it out on your own. The franchise still thrives for a reason. The other game I suggest is Shadowgate. This is part of the Mac Venture line of games, that line of games that started with Deja Vu and Uninvited. Out of all of the games that were in the Mac Venture line, this is one that saw more than 2 releases. In fact, the Shadowgate sub-franchise has 7 different games, with the most recent being Shadowgate 2 this year. It's a hard game, but it is what it is. I think you should give it a shake.
In Star Tropics, you play as a boy named Mike, who's trying to find his missing uncle. You explore tropical islands, talk to funny villagers, and battle weird monster with a yo-yo. There were puzzles to solve and secrets to find, like a treasure map come to life. In Goonies 2, you're Mikey from the Goonies, and you have to save your friends. You explore tunnels, jump across platforms, and even fight ghosts and gods. There are hidden doors, keys, and secret items everywhere. It's a other big treasure hunt.
This is a hard decision because this is my favorite genre ever. Where others are picky and hard on companies for their contributions in both vertical and horizontal shooters, I will rip them to shreds. There are things I like and things I dislike. Now, to be fair and balanced, I chose one from each style, vertical and horizontal. The first is Gradius, one of the greatest horizontal shooters to ever exist, and I feel many modern horizontal shooters owe their roots to this game. It's not easy, but it is approachable, which is better than most of the other horizontal shooters on the platform. For my vertical choice, I'm actually going to suggest Gunnak. I might be wrong, but I believe that there were far more vertical shooters on the NES than horizontal, and from my experience, I've played eons more verticals, so naturally I do prefer verticals. And when I checked out Gunnak, I was extremely impressed. It's approachable, it's fluid, it's a better Xanac, right? That game can suck eggs. That game irritated the
Hey, you can't say that.
Yeah, that's right, kid. It irritated the poo-poo out of me. Is that better? But Gunnak didn't keep the strange, weird programming that Xanac did, where if you do better, the game says you're doing too good, so clearly you need more of a challenge. And that translates into derailing your fun little experience. Gunnak didn't do that, at least not from what I know. And even if it did, the enemy placements and the ability to take them out felt good.
In Life Force, you fly a spaceship through space inside a giant alien. You blast enemies, dodge lasers, and power up your ship with cool upgrades. The levels are crazy. Some scroll sideways, some go up and down, and everything feels super fast and awesome. Galaga is all about quick shooting and dodging in space. Tiny alien bugs fly down and try to grab your ship. But if they do, don't worry. You can shoot them and get 2 ships at once. It's fun, fast, and makes you feel like the best pilot in the galaxy. It was my papa's favorite game, and it's fun to play when I miss him.
Sports games on the NES were all about simplicity and raw fun. You weren't memorizing plays or toggling sliders. You were throwing passes, swinging bats, and yelling at your cousin when they button mashed your pitcher off the mound. Some games tried to be realistic, others just wanted to be playable. Either way, these titles captured that living room couch co-op magic. If you didn't grow up with this game, I'm sorry, but your childhood might have been a little quieter. Tecmo Bowl was the NES football game, not just because it had real NFL players, but because it was pick up and play accessible while still letting you trash talk with actual strategy. 8 plays, no audibles, and a dream. Now the computer cheats a little, but so did your cousin who had a very unhealthy addiction to Bo Jackson. You know how I said Tecmo Bowl was the NES football game? Blades of Steel is the NES hockey game. You're not just slapping pucks, you're also getting into fights. Mid-game, fights can break out at any point. Whoever wins gets the puck. What other sport lets you punch your way into possession? It's fast, it's smooth, it even says Blades of Steel like it's announcing a new WWE faction. And that's all I ever wanted from an 8-bit ice hockey.
In ice hockey, you get to build your team using 3 types of players: skinny guy, normal guy, and big lunchbox guy. That's already funny. Then you skate around, try to score, and occasionally get into fights. It's silly, and when somebody scores, the little celebration jingle makes you feel like a champion, even if you're mashing buttons the whole time. This one's a sport game and a button mashing workout in disguise. You do long jump, swimming, fencing, shooting, and mini Olympics riding your console. Some of the events are really wild, like arm wrestling against a robot or cliff diving. It's like going to recess on your controller. That's all a kid like me really wants.
Our final genre today involves the NES Zapper, the light gun. There's not much to say outside of the fact that this was one of the genres that really put you in the action. You held the zapper, you pulled the trigger, and if you were lucky, you hit the target. Now, to be fair, these games are mostly child's play. The sole exception is To the Earth, which many consider to be the most difficult. So because of that, here are my picks. Hogan's Alley is a simple game that replicates the shoot house you would see if you were in the National Guard and happened to visit the true-to-form Hogan's Alley. That's what it's named after. The whole premise involves you shooting targets, hopefully with you hitting the bad guys and avoiding the civilians. Because there is an element of reflex-based scoring, I think this is more in tune with what adults would like. My other suggestion is Wild Gunman. It's you and the computer mano a mano in a quick draw duel. It's much less about chaos than you would find in the other games, instead focusing on precision and timing. There was even an arcade version of this, released in 1974, and it had 4 different live-action actors who would duel with you. I've never seen it in person, but I have played the home console version, which, while dumbed down, is still incredibly fun and challenging.
This game is so awesome. You get this bright orange pistol, and it actually works on the TV, like you're really shooting ducks right on the screen. I don't even know how it works, but it's magic or something. You get 3 shots, and the ducks fly super fast, and sometimes they trick you, and then the dog laughs at you. I'm gonna hit every duck, just to make him stop laughing. And then there's this one called Gumshoe, and it's toy bananas. There's this guy, instead of walking him to the right, you actually shoot him to make him jump, like bang, and he goes flying in the air. At first, I thought I was doing it wrong, but nope, that's how it works.
And that's it for today's episode. What are your suggestions for what would be considered NES essentials? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section below. Who knows, maybe you'll help somebody create an awesome library of games that not only they will enjoy, but their kids will as well. Speaking of our community, if you made it to the end of this episode, you're already home with us. We're a gathering of video game enthusiasts that love remembering a time when life was just a little bit easier to live. And if you align with that, feel free to subscribe. Finally, the single most important thing you can do for me is to hit that thumbs up button, as it directly affects the visibility of the videos and the projects that I work on every single day. You want to tell everybody bye?
Sure. For our family to your family, good energy, good vibes, Aria out.